Good evening and welcome to the 2020 Syracuse Law Honors Award Ceremony. My name is Kristen Duggleby and I am the College of Law's Director of Alumni Relations. We have a record audience this evening with over 130 in attendance. We are in webinar mode, which means that the audience can hear and see all of our presenters and honorees, but our audience's video has not been activated and your audio is muted to prevent noise interference. The chat button is engaged, however, so please feel free to add your reflections and congratulations in the chat throughout the evening. I thank our CART reporter, Melissa Moore, for her services today, and our live captioning sponsor, the Lolatus Law Firm. Any member of our audience can view instantaneous translation of the spoken language during this program by clicking the closed caption button at the bottom of your meeting window. Many thanks also to our other Law Alumni Weekend sponsor, Hancock and Estabrook. Together, we acknowledge with respect the Onondaga Nation, the firekeepers of the Haudenosaunee, the indigenous people on whose ancestral land Syracuse University now stands. It is my pleasure to hand the program over to Dean Craig M. Boyes.
Thank you, Kristen, and good evening, alumni and friends, faculty, staff, and students. Welcome again to the College of Law's 2020 Syracuse Law Honors Award Ceremony. I know that I speak for SULA Board President Mark O'Brien, our SULA board members, and the board's Law Honors Committee when I say how heartening it is to know that so many of our alumni are joining us this evening to celebrate a very special group. While we cannot be together in person, it is clear that the Orange spirit is as strong as ever. We can always learn from even the most trying experiences, and this pandemic will likely impact our future approach to Law Alumni Weekend, so that it is widely accessible to all of our alumni, regardless of your ability to travel to Syracuse. Mark, you and your fellow board members work tirelessly to make the Law Honors Program a successful and gratifying celebration year after year. I've been looking forward to tonight, not only because of the alumni we celebrate, but because this year we also celebrate two key figures in our college's history, two faculty members whose names surface over and over again when I meet with alumni worldwide. Before I turn the program over to Rich Levy and Mark, I want to take this opportunity to wish us all a happy 125th anniversary of the College of Law, which fortuitously is this week. I also want to thank all of our alumni, near and far, who in a myriad of ways work every day to improve the legal profession and who give back so much and with such generosity to their alma mater. Now it's my pleasure to hand the program over to Law Honors Committee Chair Rich Levy and SULA Board President Mark O'Brien. Rich and Mark, I thank you and your colleagues on the committee for your hard work and dedication toward tonight's program. To select only a few honorees from among the thousands of outstanding lawyers who comprise the College of Law alumni base is not an easy task, and I know that you and the committee take this charge very seriously and with great pride. I'm grateful for your diligence and passion. Our College of Law family is better for it.
Thank you, Dean Boyes. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this very special part of Law Alumni Weekend. I'm Rich Levy, a proud member of the College of Law class of 1977 and honor the Orange Nation. We have much to celebrate this weekend as we mark the great milestone of the 125th anniversary of our College of Law. We reflect on where we are and how far we have come. But we must also remember colleagues, teachers, and friends who are no longer with us. So before we move on, please join me in a quiet moment of memory of our deceased alumni, faculty, friends, and staff. Thank you. These are truly strange times for all of us. Many of us have spent the better part of 6 months working remotely from our offices, practicing law or related pursuits in a manner that I venture none of us could ever have anticipated. But through the technology of virtual collaboration, a medium in which our law school is a leader, we're fortunate to continue the annual traditions of Law Alumni Weekend and in particular, to celebrate our College of Law family by conferring the Syracuse Law Honors. And I do trust that all of you, as I, are really happy to count this event as a welcome break from a long but continuing cycle of Groundhog Days. In 2014, when the College of Law had finally settled into Dineen Hall the board of directors of the Syracuse University Law Alumni Association believed that the time was right to propose a new annual awards program to serve as a focal point of what was then called Law Reunion Weekend, since renamed Law Alumni Weekend. These honors would showcase the incredible breadth, experience, and accomplishment of the members of our law school community. With a green light from the law school administration, the SULA board formed the Syracuse Law Honors Committee in early 2015 and charged it to develop and implement this new awards program with all deliberate speed. Barely 7 months later, the College of Law honored the first class of Syracuse Law honorees. Of the 24 individuals who've received the awards over the past 5 years, 6 are attending this event virtually this evening, and we salute all of you. The Syracuse Law Honors Program celebrates distinguished achievements in any field of endeavor by members of the Syracuse Law family. Alumni, current and former faculty and staff, students, parents, and friends, for service to the College of Law, the legal profession, Syracuse University, or the world at large. This year's deliberations were especially intense. Our responsibility to cull out the final slate felt at times to be splitting hairs. Although difficult, what a satisfying situation to address. I especially want to single out my colleagues on the Syracuse Law Honors Committee with whom I am privileged to serve, and whose dedication, diligence, and collegial spirit are exemplary. Mark O'Brien, class of 2014, who served as co-chair of the Law Honors Committee on this award cycle before his election as SULA president, and committee members Nelson Atkin of the class of 1974, Suzanne Galbato, class of 1998, who served on the committee during the first half of this cycle before being called up to the College of Law's Board of Advisors. SULA past President Carrie Ang, class of 2002, then SULA President Amy Vanderlyke Digert, class of 2006, Amanda Hiffer-Dondero, class of 2011 and incoming co-chair of this committee, and Jesse Feitel, class of 2016. The committee was ably supported by Assistant Dean Sophie Dagenet and her team in the Office of Advancement and External Affairs, including Director of Alumni Relations Kristen Duggleby, Melissa Cassidy, Fritz Diddle, and Lisa Ledoux. And I would be remiss without including a real shout out to the technical team of Joel Whitney, Kyle Davis, and Rob Conrad, who transformed what historically has been a live event into this virtual ceremony. And of course, a very special thank you to Dean Voice, who fully embraced the Law Honors Program from the moment he arrived at the College of Law. Even though our audience is Zoom muted, please join me in a constructive round of applause for all of them. Finally, before I yield the screen, let me emphasize that the Syracuse Law Honors are in reality our entire community's honors. Every person participating this evening and every member of our law school community should take pride in these medals and the medalists. At a more basic level, each member of our law school community has the opportunity to play a direct role in the awards process by submitting nominations for this high distinction. The Honors Committee is already submitting nominations for the medals to be conferred at this time next year. So please take a moment to submit a nomination through the honors link on the College of Law website. I urge each of you to exercise this very special franchise. It enriches our law school, it cements the connections among the members of our community, and it advances our profession. As you are about to hear, the 6 persons we honor tonight are remarkable as individuals, professionals, and exemplars of the College of Law community. Their accomplishments help to make our larger world a better place. It is indeed a privilege to be here tonight as they receive the Syracuse Law Honors. On behalf of the SULA Law Honors Committee, I thank all of you for joining us this evening. It's now my privilege to turn the program over to Mark O'Brien, President of the Syracuse Law Alumni Association. Mark, would you please introduce the medalists?
Rich, thank you so very much, and it is my humble pleasure to do so. I, like you, am incredibly thankful to the SULA board and the members of the Syracuse Law Honors Committee for your hard work on this year's program. So without further ado, on to the introduction of this year's recipients. Virginia L. Grady, class of 1983. When Virginia Grady was named the federal public defender for the United States Federal Districts of Colorado and Wyoming in June of 2014, it was a monumental occasion in more ways than one. As a professional matter, Virginia became the first woman to hold the position of federal public defender since the creation of that office nearly 4 decades earlier in 1975. As a personal matter, it capped a career devoted to protecting and ensuring everyone's right to counsel in criminal prosecutions and proceedings. Virginia received her Juris Doctorate from our College of Law in 1983. Not surprisingly, for someone who has left her mark in the courtroom, she was an active member of the College of Law's nationally recognized trial advocacy team and a student of legendary Professor Emeritus and 2019 Law Honors recipient Travis H.D. Lewin. Ginny credits her Syracuse Law education and training to her success as a distinguished trial lawyer. She began and honed her lifelong career in public service as an advocate for indigent defendants in the office of the Colorado State Public Defender in Denver. She joined the Federal Defender's Office as an attorney in 1990. Ginny is the founder of a biannual continuing legal education program for attorneys who practice in the United States District Courts in Colorado and Wyoming, focused on attorneys who become appointed for indigent defendants under the Federal Criminal Justice Act. A loyal alumna of our College of Law, she regularly supports various trial advocacy programs, frequently giving of her time to help students and alumni with career advice, and continually expressing a willingness to hire Syracuse Law alumni. Virginia, congratulations on this honor. Everett Gillison, class of 1985. As a social worker, public defender, and municipal and state public servant, Everett Gillison has committed his career to public service. Everett graduated from the University of Pennsylvania with a bachelor's degree in political science. He was a social worker in Philadelphia when he entered our College of Law. After graduating in 1985, Everett returned to Philadelphia and joined the Defenders Association of Philadelphia, where he worked for the next 23 years, trying myriad cases as a public defender. His skill and success led to his selection as a member of the first Special Defense and Capital Homicide Unit in the history of the city of Philadelphia. In 2008, then Mayor of Philadelphia, Michael Nutter, prevailed on Everett to leave the Defenders Association and join city government. Everett answered that call, serving as Deputy Mayor of Public Safety. Charged with reimagining and coordinating the city's public safety departments, he brought a community-focused, holistic approach to City Hall by implementing a program called Philly Rising, which realigned budget funding to promote community-based policing and safety efforts. This initiative had a profound impact on violent crime and homicide in the city's top 10 hotspot communities. During Everett's 8 years in the Nutter administration, Philadelphia saw significant reductions in crimes, including, most notably, a 35% drop in homicides, along with a dramatic decrease in the county prison population. In 2011, Mayor Nutter appointed Everett as his chief of staff. After leaving office in 2015, Everett was named to both the Pennsylvania Probation and Parole Board and the Pennsylvania State Ethics Board. Everett, congratulations on this honor. Professor Emeritus William C. Banks. It is an accomplishment at any institution of higher education for a teacher to have a profound impact on generations of students. It is an amazing accomplishment for that same professor to have made a lasting impact on the institution itself and the entire landscape of a particular discipline. For our College of Law, that person is William C. Banks, an internationally recognized authority in national security, counterterrorism, and constitutional law, and the founding director of the Institute for Security Policy and Law at our law school. A graduate of the University of Nebraska and holder of law and master's degrees from the University of Denver, Bill joined the faculty of the College of Law in 1978. In 1998, he was appointed a professor of public administration in the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs. And in 2008, Bill became the first College of Law Board of Advisors Distinguished Professor. From 2015 to 2016, Bill ably served as interim dean of the College of Law. Bill's foray into the emerging field of national security law began unexpectedly in 1986. Following the Reykjavik summit between President Ronald Reagan and Soviet Union President Mikhail Gorbachev, where the two world leaders engaged in nuclear arms control negotiations, a reporter asked Bill to clarify the legal rules for launching a nuclear strike. Bill responded he was unsure, but would figure it out. And boy, did he mean it. A year later, he published his first paper on national security law, By 1990, he was teaching classes in national security law and had co-authored the first widely adopted casebook on the subject. In 2003, he founded what is known today as the Institute for Security Policy and Law. As emphasized by Dean Craig Boyce, Bill Banks' contribution to the college, the university, and the field of national security law can never be understated. Professor Banks, congratulations on tonight's honor.
M. Katherine Richardson, class of 1977. For this native of Syracuse, becoming a lawyer was all Kathy talked about as a kid. Yet when she graduated from the State University of New York at Oswego in 1963, she sacrificed her acceptance to law school to take a job as a high school math teacher. She needed that income to help send her younger brother to college. As one might expect, Kathy was fully committed to her decision. She even earned a master's degree in mathematics from the University of Northern Colorado in 1969. But she wanted more. When she shifted her career focus and enrolled in our College of Law, it was effortless. She became an editor of the Syracuse Law Review and graduated magna cum laude in 1977. She joined the well-known firm of Bond, Shenick & King, where she quickly made a name for herself. And in 1986, she was elected the first woman to become a partner of the firm. Kathy practiced in the area of business law, developing a specialty in advising hospitals and healthcare providers in mergers and acquisitions, corporate governance, regulatory matters, credentialing of medical staff, and allied health professionals and consumer contracts. In addition to her law practice, Kathy applied her talents and leadership to improving the legal profession by advancing leadership opportunities for women and promoting diversity. Notably, she was the first woman to serve as the president of the Onondaga County Bar Association, and only the second woman ever to serve as president of the New York State Bar Association. Kathy's stature in the profession is palpable. She has been honored by the New York State Bar Foundation's Lifetime Achievement Award, the Onondaga County Bar Association Distinguished Lawyer and Pro Bono Service Awards, and the New York State Bar Association Shapiro Award. Underscoring her contributions, her law firm established the M. Katherine Richardson Clerkship Program to bring diversity to the legal profession. Congratulations, Kathy, on this honor. Court A. Weiburg, class of 2008. The late actor Christopher Reeve wrote that, "A hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. By this measure, Court Weiburg is a Superman. Despite significant disabilities, including blindness from an early age, Court was raised to know and believe that he was entitled to full participation in every aspect of society and community alongside his non-disabled peers. Court received his BA degree in English in 2004 from Hamilton College. He was drawn to our College of Law with its well-regarded disability law and policy program. Upon graduating in 2008, Court received a prestigious Equal Justice Works Fellowship with the New York Lawyers for the Public Interest, where he represented low-income people of color with disabilities in fair housing, public accommodations, and employment discrimination matters in his native New York City. In 2011, Court joined Disability Rights Pennsylvania, a nonprofit organization committing to protecting and advancing the civil rights of children and adults with disabilities. In May 2019, Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney, as you can see, Philadelphia mayors clearly have an appreciation for the excellence of College of Law graduates. Mayor Kenney appointed Court as the executive director of the Mayor's Commission on People with Disabilities. Court guides the commission's constituent services, oversees the city's Office of ADA Compliance, and works on a variety of key issues, including, just as examples, increasing disability hiring in city agencies and increasing the participation of disability-owned businesses in city contracting. As Court puts it, his goal is not just to meet standards, but to strive to make Philadelphia a better city for people with disabilities. Congratulations, Court. And finally, Professor Emeritus Thomas J. Maroney, class of 1963. By all counts, Tom Maroney is an Orangeman through and through. With family roots in central New York, he never strayed far from Syracuse for any lengthy period, thanks to his sense of place and purpose to his family, community, law school, and profession. Tom graduated magna cum laude with a BA from Syracuse University in 1961 and magna cum laude from the College of Law in 1963, where he was an editor of the Syracuse Law Review. After a fellowship at the University of Michigan Law School and private practice with the firm of White and Case in New York City, Tom returned to our alma mater as a law professor during the 1967-68 academic year, during which one student in his course on legislation was future US Senator and Vice President, now presidential candidate Joseph R. Biden Jr. of the class of 1968. Tom also taught Joe Biden's late son, Beau, class of 1994, the former Attorney General of Delaware, among many other students who went on to distinguished careers in private practice and public service. Through 44 years as a faculty member at the College of Law, with brief stints as a visiting professor at Cornell and the University of Colorado, Tom taught hundreds of students about a range of subjects in public law, including constitutional law, federal jurisdiction, antitrust, constitutional criminal procedure, and alternative dispute resolution, just to name a few. Tom also found a calling to public service, first as the Assistant New York State Attorney General in charge of the Syracuse Regional Office from 1979 to 1981, and later as the United States Attorney for the Northern District of New York from 1994 to 1999. After each hiatus from the classroom, he returned to our law school to renew his dedication to his students. Tom has been an active contributor to his community. He was a volunteer attorney for and president of the Central New York chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union, a 15-year member of the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, and a longtime volunteer fire officer for the Fayetteville Fire Department. And he was Grand Marshal of the 2013 Syracuse St. Patrick's Day Parade. As if all this was not enough to fill a life, Tom remains active as a respected labor arbiter. He married his childhood sweetheart, Dr. Mary K. Maroney, herself a degree recipient from Syracuse University's graduate school in 1992. And he's the proud father of Mike, law school class of 2000, celebrating his 20th reunion, and Anne, a former staff member of the College of Law. Counting Tom and Mary Kay, their children, and various aunts and uncles, the Maroney clan holds a combined total of 14 degrees from Syracuse University. Congratulations, Tom, on this honor.
My best memories of law school are all a product of being on the national trial team. I mean, you know, it's hard to like law school, right? I mean, it's just, who comes out of law school and says, wow, I really liked law school. I really liked law school, and I liked it because of the joy of being on the national trial team. 3 professors who, in my opinion, saved me. The first one was Don Braveman, who I had for civil procedure, and my first couple of exams in CivPro were abject failures because I wasn't writing enough in my answers. And so he must have looked at my application or something, because he knew I'd been a reporter where, you know, you write copy for 2-minute stories. And he brought me into his office, his little office in the basement with no windows. He sat me down. He said, you got to put the copywriting style away and learn to write like a lawyer. If I hadn't gotten that part right my first year, I wouldn't have gotten to the second year, where I had the joy and pleasure of meeting the other 2 people who were a big part of my life at the school. One was Travis Lewin, who we all know and love, and the other was Emil Rossi, who we all know and love.
Jenny was my research assistant her senior year, as well as being on my trial team, and I think she probably took trial practice from me as well. She was a tough worker, a good, and she's been a great supporter of the law school since she graduated. She's dedicated her practice pro bono. She's gone the direction that we wish that we had more money to pay everyone to be able to do those things. And she's sacrificed. She's a very fine trial lawyer, and she sacrificed what might have been a lot of money in order to do the work that she's been doing for these many years.
The impact that I've had in my clients' lives comes from two things. One is the number of times that a client will say, "Thank you, Virginia." And I've got some clients who, it's not a matter of whether they have, won their case or whether they're going to go do a substantial amount of time in prison. It's the fact that as their lawyer, they know that you will never stop you'll never not have their backs, and you're always there for them. So I have clients who I represented in 1985 who still call me just to check in. That tells me that went pretty well, but that also is what makes it so rewarding for me. Being a public defender takes you many places, but at the end of the day, the best thing about it is studying the human condition. Personally, this award is very humbling, and the work of public defenders is not something that gets a lot of positive attention. Public defenders don't sign up for the job, of course, to be recognized, but it's just traditionally the reason that we are public defenders and the history that of the Criminal Justice Act from the federal perspective, the history in this country of ignoring poor people who are charged with crimes is makes me very proud to be accepting this award or be given this award on behalf of our cause.
Why did I pursue a law degree at Syracuse? Because I had people here in Philadelphia who I did not know at the time were SU law grads, but they were my mentors. One of them specifically was Theodore McKee. I had been working with him with the National Lawyers Guild and also the National Conference of Black Lawyers. And when I made my mind to attend law school, he was one that said, you really need to go to a place that has a national reputation and one that has an alumni that is across the country that you will fit right in with. And he said, you should check out Syracuse. And he was right. I had a great time at Syracuse. I met some really dynamic people. It was you go for the reputation of the school, which is maintained obviously by the professors. But who you get to meet, people from all over the country. I stayed in contact early on in my career with my professors, between Travis Lewin and Gary Kelder. I was able to, during some really tough times when I had some issues, I was able to contact them. Professor Maroney was a really close mentor for me. Public service for me is a calling. It has always been a calling. It has been one of the things that I have asked people to always consider as a career choice. And for me, to be in service of others is how I've always been taught is the best part of one's life. I have always remembered that when we look back on our life, I never wanted to have a feeling that I kept something away from someone else, that I did something more for me than I did for others, because I'm not going to be remembered for what I did for myself. But I will be, and the work that I did do on behalf of others will always stand as a testament to the fact that somebody cared. Too many people, especially Black and brown people, have been marginalized through most of our histories. And it is up to all of us to take a stand to help out and do what we can. There's really no better feeling to be able to say that you've done something for someone else. And when you get that feeling, it is addicting. And I kind of have stayed in that mode for the majority of my life.
I remember that first conversation with Everett Gillison. he mostly a career public defender, me mostly a career prosecutor. We sat down and had a conversation about justice and the idea of justice, and what was clear for me is how committed he was to ensuring that all parties receive justice and we have a fair and just criminal justice system. And that was very obvious from that first conversation. And his career has only exemplified and proven that fact, that he is an individual that is committed to public service and committed to criminal justice for all parties.
I'm just a simple kid from West Philadelphia who grew up at a time when there was a lot of tension and strife. We're now having a reckoning that should have occurred through my first time through the civil rights era. But we still need to have challenges to make sure that our day of reckoning is one that will keep us on that path to be a more perfect union. The law has been wonderful to me, but I did all of that because of the training that I got along the way, and Syracuse played a big part in that. And I just wanted to say thank you to the law school for not only giving me the opportunity to do what I've done, but I don't think that I would have had the kind of life and experience I would have had but for the opportunity that I was given.
When Dean Hannah Arturian arrived at Syracuse in 2002, she said, I recognize that you've been out there doing this work in national security for some time. I developed a pretty strong academic reputation. But she said, I'd really like to see you do something for the institution so that the school can become known, not just because Banks is a decent scholar or teacher, but because the school has national security law excellence. And after some discussions, we agreed with her urging to start the Institute for National Security and Counterterrorism. And before you knew, we grew. We did a little fundraising. We attracted the interest of the Maxwell School to become a partner in an interdisciplinary institute. It was actually the first campus-wide interdisciplinary academic program at Syracuse University. If anything, the field is growing more complex, and there's ever greater need for talented individuals like those who come through the Syracuse program to go out and work in it. INSCIT has always been about the students and now the graduates, and it's a source of real pride personally for me, and I think for the program as it continues now under a new name, that we have hundreds and hundreds of certificate graduates of Syracuse University College of Law working in national security law positions in Washington, in other cities around the country, and internationally. And they're in those jobs doing the good work that they're doing because of the academic program they succeeded in completing while students at SU College of Law.
Hi, my name's Egan Donnarumma, class of 2013. And I was Professor Banks's student and research assistant. What I've come to appreciate and why I think Professor Banks is so suited for this recognition is that not only is he a leading academic expert, but he has shown a commitment to investing in his students personally, to preparing them to become the next generation of practitioners, and to bridge those connections and build those relationships between current students and alumni. I am grateful for the investment he made in me as a student, and he's inspired me as an alumni to pay that forward to current students.
To be recognized by my students is a really cherished memory, will be for me. I've always felt that I give it all in the classroom, and I spend a lot of time working with students outside the classroom. I believe really deeply in the importance of education and quality teaching. And what I'll always have with me from my time on the faculty at Syracuse are the memories from working with those students, the ones who came in and took off like a rocket right out of the gate, and others who struggled, but learned how to get from A to B to C over time during their 3 years or more, in some cases as students at the College of Law. So it's all about the students who are now the graduates, and it's the alumni who've chosen to bestow this award on me, and for that, I'm very grateful.
I think the fondest memories I have of law school are people, whether it was all my colleagues and the students, and you have to remember I was 11 years older than most of them on it, and the professors, they were just really great. The young people accepted me right into the, in fact, I had a student that I had taught in high school was a classmate of mine in law school. So it was just the people. I mean, I got a great education. I'm not downplaying that at all, but it was the people that really have stuck with me all these years. Non-law school life probably didn't exist. Even though I was here in Syracuse and all my friends were in Syracuse, I think I was scared to death that first year. So I really just hunkered down with the books and everything. With time pressures and everything, it's a lot harder for a lot of lawyers to take on that mentoring, but it is so crucial because anybody can sort of figure it out, but to be a good lawyer, you really need to know how to be a good lawyer. And that doesn't come in law school. That really comes with working with clients and seeing good lawyers work with clients.
We've known each other since 1990. You probably don't remember this, don't worry. But when I first joined the firm in 1990, I went through a mini rotation. I came in as an environmental associate, and you were the first one to give me an assignment. And the thing that really has had a lasting impact on me is the time you took as part of your mentoring role to work through the memo that I prepared and talk a little bit about the issues that were addressed in the memo. And that really was meaningful to me and really influenced how I've worked with younger lawyers throughout my career. So I want to thank you for that.
Well, I guess I was brought up with the idea that community service and being involved in your community was just a natural part of life. Mom and dad both. I was the apple that didn't fall far from the tree. And a friend of mine said, community service is the rent you pay for living on earth. But it has so many benefits. It's benefits to you personally, just because do you really want to hang around with lawyers all day long? I mean, really. I mean, get out and see what the real world and the experience of that. Great networking. You meet wonderful people and you feel good because you've helped the community. Nothing I can speak for at least 70 something years of experience, that nothing important in our community has ever happened without lawyers being involved.
You have obviously had a profound impact on the community and the bar and the law profession. You were president of the Onondaga County Bar Association. You were the second woman president of the New York State Bar Association. And both of those positions really had a great influence on us here at Bonchinick and King, because as you know, there are many of us who have become involved in the Bar Association throughout the years because we want to give back to the law profession. We want to learn about the substantive areas in which we practice, and we like the camaraderie.
When I look at the other award winners with me, right, or awardees, I'm humbled, first of all. I mean, to be in the category with these folks is wonderful. But I think no one can understand until it's happened to them is the thrill of having people in your profession decide you are worthy of this award. That is, that peer acknowledgement means a lot because people know what you've gone through and what you've done and what you haven't done. And that's just means the world to me. And I owe SU an awful lot. It's given me a wonderful, wonderful life in the law school and all the professors and the deans.
When I graduated from college, I knew I wanted to pursue disability rights work. I had learned about public interest law and what that was in college, and I looked around to see if anybody was doing, disability law or anything disability related, and I didn't see much, but I did see that Syracuse had a disability law and policy program, which I had no idea about until I was looking around at law schools, and since I went to Hamilton College, which isn't far away, I decided to contact Arlene Cantor and visit. And when I heard about all the great things that the law school was doing, I just knew I had to sign up right away. It was exactly what I was looking for. I was born with a visual impairment, eventually went blind, and then added a few other disabilities, mental illness, etc. And I certainly knew what it was like to fight, fight through barriers and deal with not getting accommodations, whether it was in school or whether it was having people tell me what I was, could and could not do, or what I would amount to. I wanted to use my own background to help other people with disabilities. So when I looked at what the Disability Law and Policy program had at Syracuse, it's sort of like they knew exactly what they had planned it just for me. I really think that my interactions with professors, Arlene Cantor, Michael Schwartz, Disability Law, and the Disability Rights Clinic professors, along with fellow DLPP students, were some of my fondest memories. Just finding people who were as interested and passionate about doing disability rights work as I was, and then taking, the disability law courses. They really were fun. I actually did look forward to going to those courses and learning everything about the ADA, and having Arlene drill us on whatever arcane ADA regulation that day, or having Michael give us some litigation strategies. It was really, those are some great memories. I still think about them now.
Hello, my name is Arlene Cantor. I'm a professor here at the College of Law, director of our international programs, and founder and director of our Disability Law and Policy program. Since graduation, Court has done us all proud. Among his many accomplishments, I would add that Court has been an active and supportive mentor to our law students. On a personal note, I would add that Court has helped me, I believe, make me a better teacher. He was the first blind student I ever had, and early on he asked me to please send him an outline of my classes to him prior to class. And then I realized that not only Court, but perhaps all students could benefit by receiving the PowerPoint of the class prior to class. Doing that also allowed me to become better prepared for each class and to give more thought about what I wanted to accomplish, and in particular, how all students would be able to participate in my classes. For that, I thank Court.
I think that my education at the College of Law and my previous work has really let me have a high-level view of, making policy decisions, just thinking about how the ADA and just disability, disability law and policy can have an impact on an entire city. It's very humbling. I never expected to get an award for anything, and I, getting, when the College of Law contacted me, it was a very pleasant surprise, and I hadn't even realized that it was the 15th anniversary of the LPP that coincides with the ADA. That was some really good planning by Arlene way back when. So I'm really pleased that the College of Law has given disability such a platform, and I'm certainly, again, humbled to be the person who got the award.
I've had some nice remembrances even since this pending nature of this award has been announced, and I've never received a rating or a message wrapped around a brick through the office window, so I guess that's a good sign. And I have students that I taught 10, 20, 30 years ago with whom I'm still in contact. And so I hope I had an influence on them, and they have certainly had an influence on me. Well, Bo Biden, when he came to the law school, was not a stranger to me. He was actually my second Biden student. His dad, of course, was my student way back when. When I retired in 2011, Bo sent me a very lovely letter thanking me, congratulating me, and thanking me for the impact I had had upon him and his father, and thanking me for my commitment to the public sector.
I got a very good education at our College of Law from a range of teachers that I look back on with great appreciation. I was well prepared to enter the legal profession, but one teacher always stood out. I knew I was in for quite a ride with Professor Maroney from that day in his federal courts course early in the fall of 1975. It was during a class that covered the Clearfield Trust case and the doctrine of federal common law, or some other seemingly mundane rules of federal jurisdiction. Seated in my usual spot near the back of a tiered classroom in the law school's then home in Ernest I. White Hall, I was whispering with my chum David Locker about something or other. The classroom suddenly came to a standstill, and I froze. From a sound and a sight that I will forever remember. Professor Maroney's two-fingered whistle and his piercing stare looking straight at me. When he asked if there was something I wished to share with the class, I meekly demurred. That assuredly was the last time I failed to pay attention in any law school classes, and I am a much better lawyer for it.
In May of 2000, my son Mike graduated from the law school, magna cum laude, executive editor of the Law Review, the usual things, and got a master's in public administration as well. And at that graduation in May, I got the privilege of hooding my son.
Good evening. I'm Michael Maroney, a 2000 graduate of the College of Law and the Maxwell School, and the proud son of one of this year's Law Honors Award recipients, Professor Tom Maroney. The other day, one of my daughters asked me, "Dad, did you become a lawyer because your dad is a lawyer?" That's not the first time I've been asked that question, but my answer's always been the same. Not exactly. You see, my dad never pressured me to become a lawyer, but I'm certain that I'm a better lawyer today because of him, and I know I'm not alone in that regard. There are many former students, assistant U.S. attorneys, assistant attorneys general, many others who share that sentiment. It's not because he taught us how to analyze a case or draft a brief. It's because he taught us how to practice law with honesty, integrity, and professionalism. That's his lasting legacy, and that's the reason why he's so deserving of this award.
This award means to me validation. I've done this for a long time. I've always been proud, number one, to be a lawyer, number two, to be a Syracuse University and law school graduate, and I'm delighted to see the people who are being honored along with me this year, and some of those in the past. In the past, Judge Ted McKee, retired Chief Judge of the Third Circuit, was my research assistant, and lots of the other honorees. So I'm proud of this award. I'm grateful for it, and I'm happy to be in such wonderful, wonderful company.
Well, that was truly a fantastic video, and I'm sure everyone will agree with me that incredibly remarkable and inspiring honorees. I do want to make one note. It was an unintentional oversight when we were listing the many Maroney connections to Syracuse. We neglected to mention Tom Maroney's eldest child, Eileen, who graduated from Syracuse in 1991 and is a proud member of the Syracuse band, I believe. So hope you can forgive us, Eileen. But join me now in congratulating our 2020 Law Honors Awards recipients. Let's give them the virtual round of applause. Virginia, Everett, Professor Banks, Katherine, Court, and Professor Maroney, we hope that you are celebrating tonight's honor with your family and friends.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Take it easy.
Thank you. Thanks,
Great
everyone.
seeing you all.
Good seeing you.
Same.
Thanks for being here.
It's great to see
Great,
you
thank
all.
you. Thank you all so much for being here and accepting this honor. You know, if we had been together tonight in Dineen Hall, you'd receive the Law Honors Award medal this evening around your neck. But be sure the College of Law team will make sure that you will receive it in the mail, and we hope you will wear it or display it with pride. On that note, I turn the podium over to Assistant Dean Sophie Desjardins to close this year's ceremony.
Good evening. Law Alumni Weekend is always the perfect opportunity to celebrate the extraordinary lives of College of Law alumni and faculty. Tonight is no exception. Congratulations again, Virginia, Everett, Professor Banks, Katherine, Court, and Professor Maroney. Thank you to our audience for joining us. Mark and Rich, we are grateful for your leadership and for your expert co-hosting skills on display tonight. Not to mention Mark's delivery. Did everyone notice how well Mark O'Brien's voice projects? That's the voice of a former TV news anchor and reporter, and it served us well tonight. Thank you, Marge.
That's
And
great.
all, enjoy the evening, celebrate our honorees, celebrate your class anniversaries. Many of you are about to join old friends to do just that. We hope to see you tomorrow, day 3 of Law Alumni Weekend 2020. And as we reflect on the great contributions of this year's honorees, remember, it is never too late, it is never too early, rather, to think about nominations for next year's law honors. As we know, there is no shortage of candidates out there among College of Law alumni, faculty, and staff. Good night, everyone.